Let me just say this, prepare yourselves and strap into your seatbelts. The Acolyte Season 1, Episode 4, if you even want to count that as an episode, it really truly was a filler episode as far as I'm concerned, but this is not the end of Star Wars per se. It is most certainly going to get worse. Lucasfilm is going to continue to double down, and Kathleen Kennedy has officially lost her mind. Let's explain. Now, specifically, we know that both the Acolyte episodes 3 and 4 combined really truly, show exactly what Leslye Headland and Kathleen Kennedy have been up to, with not just their overall agenda, with really, pandering to a very small margin of so-called Star Wars fans, quote-unquote, and the fact that we know a lot of fans out there are just fed up with the franchise. They are walking away in droves. They want nothing to do with Disney Star Wars anymore. They are still doubling down regardless of what's going on right now with the future projects in play. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So not only episode 4 was bizarre and not accurate to, of course, George Lucas's Star Wars, alright? We all know this, that his philosophy of Star Wars is dead. Kathleen Kennedy truly ripped it up to pieces. We don't really recognize the Acolyte as Star Wars at all, and especially with episode 4, like I said earlier, we talked about this, that it is nothing more than an episode that is considered filler. It's a combination of a long hike, where the so-called villain just turns into the good person in this episode, and let's just say there's no suspense, and they're really setting up that you can be a villain, you can actually destroy or kill the heroes and still be forgiven right on, the bat right there. But interestingly enough, there's a lot of things going on right now with Kathleen Kennedy. Let's discuss. Now, specifically, of course, with the Acolyte Episode 4 now out, that pushes the Disney agenda further with pronouns. Yes, pronouns. One of the creatures, I believe it's called Basil or Brazel or something like that, is actually referred to as a he or a they by OSHA. So she calls him a he or a they. Alright? One major development now has to do with Kathleen Kennedy in the wake of the Acolyte episodes 1 through 4 and everything that has been going on with Leslye Headland's direction for Star Wars that now includes pronouns. One major development happening right now involves how Kathleen Kennedy and yes, Dave Filoni are already doubling down on their agenda after one of the recent Lucasfilm story group meetings that took place. Part of this development that Kathleen Kennedy pushed that was specifically organized by Leslye Headland is that the usage of pronouns was just the beginning with the Acolyte episode 4, and that the plan between both Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, and Leslye Headland is to double down on inserting pronouns through dialogue from different characters that will be presented in the upcoming Rey Star Wars film, the Mandalorian and Grogu Star Wars film, as well as the other Star Wars shows that are actively in the works, including Ahsoka Season 2. This is something that both Kennedy and Leslye Headland organized, and not so shockingly, Dave Filoni agreed with every decision that both Leslye and Kathleen made for the future of Star Wars after experimenting with the Acolyte Episode 4 when they completed that episode quite some time ago. In addition to this, although both Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland were punished, as we previously discussed, to a certain extent by the Disney heads, just as a form of damage control internally by the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger fully supports both Kennedy and Leslie's push for the use of pronouns that will now be inserted and used not just for creatures in future Star Wars films and TV shows, but also cater to human characters and alien-centered characters in the Star Wars galaxy. This was recently given the complete okay by Dave Filoni, who serves as the Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, and supports both Leslye Headland and Kathleen's push for these type of agendas going into the future films and shows. The Acolyte reportedly was both Kathleen Kennedy, of course, and Leslye Headland's test run for how this will agree with the LGBTQ community and other communities, along with those that support the usage of pronouns on different types of social media. And it's only going to get worse with other upcoming Star Wars projects. Though Leslye Headland lost many Lucasfilm opportunities due to both financial differences with Disney and Bob Iger's push with his cost containment plan, along with the fallout of Acolyte Episode 3, Kennedy reportedly took many of Leslie's concepts with her agenda and will be using them nearly every single Star Wars project for moving onwards that hasn't been filmed yet. So, to kind of just say one thing here, guys, before I move on again, they are going to be applying these agendas to every project that has not been engaged in principal photography just yet. So that goes for Ahsoka Season 2, it goes for everything like Dave Filoni's Star Wars film, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, the Rey Star Wars movie, and to be honest, I would not be too shocked if a handful of those projects never make it to reality. In fact, you know, Daisy Ridley did quite a number of recent interviews where she goes on and on about how, you know, oh, the Rey movie's happening. Oh, the Rey movie's happening. But there's really no release date on this thing. There's nothing really about it that's so concrete. So that's why I really do believe it's either going to be delayed or it's not going to end up happening. But the fact that the Acolyte Episode 4 was a test run, agenda-wise, by Kathleen, Leslie, and Dave, and yes, by the way, guys, everyone needs to know this, Dave Filoni fully supports Kathleen and Leslie's push with their agenda. Alright, I don't believe it's as others, you know, are putting it out there that maybe, oh, Dave Filoni is just being forced to agree with that. I don't think so. He is the chief creative officer, guys. You gotta remember this. He is the one that gives the okay on all of these creative aspects over at Lucasfilm. It's not just catered to Kathleen Kennedy. You know, next down you got Dave Filoni, who really gives the okay on a lot of things. So a lot of this is Dave Filoni's fault for the Acolyte series in many different areas. He is the one who openly admitted that he loved what Episode 3 was all about by Leslye Headland. He was her mentor. He was Leslye Headland's mentor on Episode 3. So it's not like he just gave it the okay. He literally guided her on a personal level how to handle that episode. So interestingly enough, moving onwards here, now, on top of this, everything could translate to some hope, however, for fans that Andor Season 2 may just have a shred of hope that it will be free of any kind of agenda. However, reshoots are happening, so we'll have to wait and see. However, with both the Acolyte Episode 3 and 4 already a bust, Kennedy is already in a phase of panic behind the scenes. However, regardless of this reaction, she is still doubling down on not just the DEI agenda, but inserting pronouns into both Lucasfilm, of course, when it comes to film and television. So look, this is why I am done with Star Wars. As far as supporting it goes, I have been done with Star Wars for like 2.5 years now, close to 3 years if you guys have been following. I really do not look forward to anything related to the Rey movie, not even to the Mandalorian and Grogu film. I've talked about this. There is a strategy behind the scenes by Bob Iger and the Disney heads. They are basically just using the face of Grogu to sell this movie. I know a lot of casual fans that know nothing about Star Wars really. They're like on the lower end of a casual fan that really just know nothing about it. They don't know the whole thing about Anakin being Luke's father or anything like that. But they just love Baby Yoda or Grogu. And they're gonna go ahead and watch that movie just because of that. That's the overall strategy by Disney, and it's a very cheap move as far as I see things. Same exact thing goes for the Rey movie. They're just trying to insert something very familiar, something that a lot of people saw recently in theaters, and that's by the usage of Rey, or quote-unquote Rey Skywalker, as they want to coin the term, of course, or her name in that movie. But overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.